We start our journey in Memphis, Tennessee, where the Rock Island's 4th Street Freight Yards once stood. It is now Temple of Deliverance Church of Christ. Just south of the yard is the Georgia Avenue Overpass, which served as the yard leads. Turning west, we are soon south of the Memphis Central Station, which served various Rock Island trains such as the Choctaw Rocket, Cherokee, Hot Springs Special, Memphis Californian, and Southwest Express. Soon we head across the Mississippi River into Arkansas. After crossing the river, the track turns south and ducks under the interstate. After the rock folded, the Cotton Belt purchased the line from Memphis to Brinkley, Arkansas. While in West Memphis, we find the interchange yard between the Rock Island, Frisco, and the Missouri Pacific. In Widener, Arkansas, we find the remains of original rock trackage in the form of what may have been a passing siding and a team track. A little down the track in Forest City, there are original Rock Island rails peeking up from under the road, as well as the Rock Island Cotton Belt Missouri Pacific crossover. One thing interesting about the junction is that the Union Pacific is now crossing itself, since they own both sets of tracks. We have rails from a passing siding crossing the road in Wheatley, Arkansas. It looks like the new crossing signal was placed directly on top of the old Rock Island roadbed. Brinkley, Arkansas was the junction between the Rock Island and the Cotton Belt. From here west to Little Rock, the RI rails have been pulled up, but the joint Cotton Belt Rock Island Depot is still standing and has been turned into a museum. On the west side of town, we find the old Rock Island Freight House that has been repurposed into an antique store. If you look close, you can barely make out the words Rock Island Freight House at the end of the building. A few miles down the road, east of Briscoe, Arkansas, there is a creek with bridge piers, but no bridge. In town, we spot the remains of a crossing and crossing signals. Soon we pass the lift bridge over the White River near DeVal's Bluff, Arkansas. Going through Hazen, Arkansas, we find a paved walking trail in place of rails, the former Rock Island Depot still standing, and rails that were never pulled up that are now owned by the city. The only rock item remaining in Carlisle is the old downtown depot. In Lonoke, we find another rail trail taking up the roadbed and the restored depot in the center of town. North Little Rock and Little Rock offer up a lot of surprising relics. Just east of NLR, we get trackage back. And a few miles west of this spot, we find an old signal mast, and control box. They're rusty, but they are still there. Soon, we come to the Rock's Argenta North Little Rock Depot. It's still standing, although the rails are gone. A little bit later, we come to the Rock's lift bridge over the Arkansas River. Now called the Rock Island Bridge, it has been refurbished as a pedestrian walking bike trail. After crossing the river, we find the Rock Island's Little Rock Station. This building is now part of the Clinton Presidential Museum. The tracks in the road belong to the Little Rock, North Little Rock streetcar system. Soon we find Rock Island Rails again. And we also find this World War II era troop car that was turned into a box car by the Rock Island. It sits on a section of disconnected track stored behind a warehouse. Finally, we arrive at Biddle Yards in Little Rock. All of the Rock Island locomotive servicing facilities have been torn down, and grass, trees have taken their place. But a portion of the yard is still here and is used by Union Pacific as a holding yard for local industries. If you enjoy our videos, click the like button, ring that notification bell, subscribe to this channel, join our Facebook and Twitter pages, and keep up with what's going on. You can also help keep this train moving by becoming a Patreon supporter. Links are in the description.